Hey guys, how's it going? It's Rustabout Collector here. I'm just doing a quick little review of this early Modern Warfare 2 Ghost figure before I tear him apart and make him into a custom. Some of you might find this useful if you want to have just this figure as a standalone character. And right now I'm about to be filming the video where I turn this guy into this guy. So I don't know which video will be uploaded first, but hopefully both of them are informational for you, so let's get into it. Now this figure is one of two variations. This is the standard release where he's in a black wetsuit with a black balaclava. There is a GameStop exclusive version of this figure where he is in a gray wetsuit with more of a dark gray balaclava. They both retailed for $20 back in the day, and now both of them are closer to like $30 on eBay. If you can find them cheaper than that, I would recommend it because these early first wave McFarlane figures they leave something to be desired. They definitely stepped it up in the second wave with the new Price figure and the new Ghost figure, but if you want an MW2 Ghost figure, this was your only option. And so we'll just go over the articulation and everything, kind of talk about it a little bit, and that's basically the purpose of this video. The first thing that we have to talk about is the face. This is the most glaring problem of this entire figure. Overall, it's not bad. We'll get into like the articulation and stuff, but this is just comical and ridiculous. Look at where his nose is compared to where the nose of the figure is. The face printing, or like the skull printing, should be all the way up here, but it's not. On every single one of these figures, even the GameStop exclusive, the printing is like below the chin. It kind of wraps down way too low, and it just looks a bit ridiculous. I don't really know why this happened, why they never corrected it, but it is like this on every single one of these figures, and it's a real shame because other than that, it's a really nicely detailed figure, but that's one of the most glaring issues of this whole figure. So for accessories, he just comes with this standard M4. It's not really accurate to the one he uses in the game since he uses more of a SOP mod, or he also will use like an ACR. But this is just a standard M4 short barrel with like no scope or anything, no sight, just the elevated M16 sights. He holds it pretty well, but well, as you can see, one of the major issues with this figure is the hand does not stay slotted into where it should be. This is a very common problem with these early wave figures, but if I can just get it in there, I can't really get him to have that hand stay in place, but he can't really even get his rifle up to his shoulder just because of the sculpting that's going on there. So that's one downside of this figure. He doesn't really, I mean, his hand is dislocated, but he's got it to his shoulder now. He was more meant to just be standing on a shelf, you know, like this. He could definitely hold it like that without any problem. I just can't get it because his hand will not stay in. So anyways, he came with this as his accessory. That was his standalone piece. He also did come with a Call of Duty stand, which is just the same as all the other figures came with. Helps him stand up on a shelf since these guys are notorious for falling over. As for articulation, he does have a double ball joint in the head, which gives him a really nice range of motion forward and back, side to side, as well as being able to spin all the way around if you would want that. He has a ball joint in the torso that really doesn't give you much forward and back, but it does give you some good side to side swivel. Shoulders can be ratcheted up to only about that right there. Elbows reach about a 90, and then he has the hinge and swivel at the hands, which is a pretty nice articulation point. For legs, he uses the stock standard kind of McFarlane hidden joint, so it can go forward, it can go out, but it leaves that really ugly gap there. And then for knees, he can go to almost 90 with a hinge and a rocker in the foot that doesn't really get that much range of articulation. Overall, the articulation isn't bad in this figure. It's more so the quality of the figure where his hands won't stay in and things like that. You also can't really get him into a combat pose with his weapon because of the sculpting and all this wetsuit gear for when he's diving. That's a disappointment as well. But overall, it's not a bad figure. Of course, as with any McFarlane figure, it's got a really nice sculpt detail going on. You can see all the pouches have texture. All of his gear has a really nicely detailed texture as well. They even went so far as to, if it'll focus, I don't know if I can get to focus quite right, but they even went so far as to add a face to his depth gauge here, which is really nice. There's even printing here on this piece of technology, so there's like wording there. So overall, really nicely detailed, a really decent figure, but ultimately lacking in a lot of critical areas. His British flag here is either faded or it's meant to be just in a grayscale black and white. I don't know which is correct. I mean, it should be, you know, red, blue, and white, but it's not. So I'm not really sure what that's about, but it is a Wave 1 Call of Duty figure, so I kind of don't expect all of that much out of it. Apart from the terrible paint on his mask, though, he does have some really nice texturing going on with the balaclava. It's actually, I don't know if you would call it etched or sculpted, but I mean, it's rough, it's textured, it looks like a balaclava with like a knitted texture to it. There's all these little folds and intricacies in the actual fabric of it, and it's awesome. I mean, look at the back here. You've got wrinkles as though it's actually on someone's head and not just, you know, a piece of plastic. That is where this figure shines, as do really all McFarlane figures. It's just a shame that they couldn't get the face printing right, they couldn't get the articulation any better, and he can't really even hold his weapon. You know, if you love this outfit, it's now in the new Modern Warfare, where you can get this if you pre-ordered the Modern Warfare 2 Remastered. I did, and I sometimes even use this skin in-game. So if it's something that you like, it's probably worth picking up. You could have this displayed on your desk really well. Not really a combat pose, but maybe something a little bit more casual where he's just holding his weapon, you know, at ease. And obviously his hand isn't going to stay in there very well. I don't know if the hand issue is universal or if it's just the one that I have, but if you give him a two-handed grip, he seems to be just fine. You know, you can kind of position the hand like that. And he could stand on your desk like that pretty well, and it wouldn't look terrible. You could repaint his mask, which is what I'm going to be doing in the tutorial on how to make a custom version of this figure. But yeah, it's got a lot going for it. It's got a pretty good amount going against it. So I feel like it comes really down to personal preference. If you like this character and you like this figure, probably pick it up. Have it on your desk. You know, it makes a good display piece along with all the other Call of Duty figures. If you're into more toy photography or something like that, I don't really recommend this figure. So yeah, that's my review. Hopefully it's kind of quick and easy, straight to the point, and it will help you guys decide if you want this figure. Like I said, I don't know the upload arrangement that I have going on right now, so depending on if it's before or after, either way, be sure to check out my video on how to customize this character, and hopefully that will also be helpful for you guys. As always, link down in the description to my social media. You can check out my toy photography on Instagram there. And leave a like, leave a comment, do all of those things if you feel like doing all of those things. But as always, guys, thanks for watching, and I will catch you in the next video.